Good morning, dear student. Today our topic is about angular momentum and rotational kinetic energy. Now, before starting angular momentum, let me explain momentum first. What is momentum? You know from your previous knowledge that momentum is the quantity of motion in a body. So we can define momentum as quantity of motion in a body is called momentum. Now if the motion is linear, we say that this is linear momentum which is given by P equal to m. P represents linear momentum, m is mass of the body and V is speed or velocity of the object. Now if the motion is not linear, say suppose the motion is rotational, what will happen? Then for rotational motion we have rotational or angular momentum which is given by L equal to I omega. Or in simple word we can transform this equation to angular form. P is replaced by L which is angular momentum, m is mass and moment of inertia I. M is replaced by moment of inertia I and V is replaced by angular velocity which is omega. Now for angular momentum we have this equation L equal to I omega. Further we can write instead of omega as omega is equal to V divided by R. As we know that V equal to R omega. V equal to R omega. So omega equal to V divided by R. Similarly I, which is moment of inertia, is equal to mr square. So putting this value in this equation, we get L equal to L equal to mr square into V divided by R. So R will be cancelled with this R. We get L equal to our angular momentum is equal to m, and we have to take the perpendicular component of V. Perpendicular component of V and R. One R will be cancelled with this R. So this is the equation for angular momentum. Further, we can write this equation as R cross. Instead of M perpendicular component of V, we can write MV is P. So R cross P. This is called angular momentum. This is another equation for angular momentum. From this equation, we can also define angular momentum as the cross product of position vector R and linear momentum is known as angular momentum. So write the second definition for angular momentum. The cross product of R and P. And you know that R is position vector and P is linear momentum. So is called what? Is called angular momentum. As angular momentum is a vector quantity, so how can we determine its direction? Let me draw a simple diagram in 3 dimensions. Say suppose this is x-axis, this is y-axis, and this will be z-axis. Now if an object is placed here, the position vector R from the origin is this one for this object. This is an object and this is the position vector R from the origin O. If its linear momentum is in this direction, which make an angle pi with the position vector, we can extend the position vector in this direction as this linear momentum make an angle pi with the position vector r. So, in which direction the angular momentum will be? The cross product r cross p. This will be in upward direction like this. This will be the direction of angular momentum L equal to r cross p. You can see the diagram. Let me explain it once again. If this is the position vector r of an object, this is the linear momentum p which make an angle pi with the position vector. So by cross product r cross p will be in upward direction L equal to r cross p. This will be the direction of angular momentum. Now what will be the unit of angular momentum? From this equation r cross p. The unit of r is meter, and what is the unit of p? P equal to mv, so its unit is kilogram or kg meter per second. So the unit of angular momentum will be unit of angular momentum is kg meter square per second or into second. Kg meter square per second will be the unit of angular momentum. After that, we have to establish a relationship between angular momentum and torque. So what will be the relationship between angular momentum and torque? Let me explain it here. Relation between angular momentum and torque. Angular momentum and torque. By Newton's second law of motion, we know that right here, by Newton's second law of motion, we know that rate of change of linear momentum is equal to force. Similarly, we can convert this equation into angular motion as what is the angular analog of F? In linear motion we define force, but in angular motion we say this is torque. Torque is an angular force. In linear motion, momentum is represented by T. However, in angular motion, it is represented by L. So, delta L divided by delta T. So, this is the relationship between angular momentum and torque. From this equation, we can also define torque as the rate of change of angular momentum. Rate of change of angular momentum is equal to torque. Now, law of conservation of momentum, or in simple word, conservation of momentum. The momentum of a system will be constant or will conserve if net torque acting on the system of the body is equal to 0. It means that if torque equal to 0, then there will be no change in the momentum. Then final momentum will be equal to initial momentum. So by conservation of momentum, we mean if torque equal to 0, then what will happen? Then delta L divided by delta T will be equal to 0, or we can say that delta L equal to 0. When there is no change in momentum, when there is no change in angular momentum, delta L equal to 0, this means that L will be equal to constant. So, if this delta L is equal to 0, this means that L equal to constant. Let me write it in one. Conservation of angular momentum means if net torque acting on a system or on a body is 0, then angular momentum will be constant or does not change. It means that L equal to constant. So initial angular momentum will be equal to final angular momentum. This is the conservation of angular momentum. Hope that it will be clear. Let me explain it once again. Relationship between angular momentum and torque, we can establish a relation between these two by applying Newton's second law of motion. Delta P divided by delta T, or rate of change of linear momentum equal to force. If we transform this equation into angular form, we will get torque equal to delta L divided by delta T. Rate of change of angular momentum is equal to torque. Now we say that let's suppose torque equal to 0. What does it mean? If torque equal to 0, then rate of change of angular momentum delta L divided by delta T will be equal to 0. You can multiply this T here, it will become 0. So delta L equal to 0. Delta L represents change in angular momentum. So if change in angular momentum is 0, means if there is no change in angular momentum, so angular momentum will be constant. Here we can say that if net torque acting on a body is 0, then angular momentum will be constant, will not change. So L equal to constant or L initial equal to L final. So conservation of angular momentum means that initial angular momentum will be equal to final angular momentum if and only if the net torque acting on the whole system is equal to 0. So after that we are going to discuss about rotational kinetic energy. Rotational kinetic energy. Kinetic energy. In linear motion, the energy of a body due to its linear motion is called linear or translational kinetic energy. Write it here. The energy of a body due to its motion is called kinetic energy or linear kinetic energy or translational kinetic energy. Now the energy of a body due to its rotational motion. This kinetic energy is given by 1 divided by 2 or half mv square, where m is mass of the body and v speed or velocity. Now the energy of a body due to its rotational motion is known as rotational kinetic energy. The energy of a body due to its rotational motion. The energy of a body due to its rotational motion is called rotational kinetic energy. Rotational kinetic energy of a body is given by Ke rotational or OT stand for rotational. Here you can write translational or linear. LIN linear. So kinetic energy rotational is, again we have to transform this equation into angular motion form. Instead of m we can write I, which is moment of inertia. Remember, in previous lecture we have studied that moment of inertia play the same role in angular motion as mass play in linear motion. Similarly, velocity this is linear velocity, so we can replace it by angular velocity for rotational kinetic energy omega square. This is the formula for rotational kinetic energy, and this one is for linear kinetic energy or translational kinetic energy. It will be clear to all of you. Now how to calculate the rotational kinetic energy of a rigid body? Here, rotational kinetic energy of a rigid body to calculate rotational kinetic energy for rigid body. Say suppose we have a rigid body like this. This is center of mass or center of gravity of rigid body. Now let me draw this diagram here. Say suppose this is a rigid body. We have divided this body into small pieces of mass like this. M1, M2, M3. Say suppose this is M4, this is M5, and this one is Mn. This body is divided into small number of masses M1, M2, M3 and so on. Let M1 have the distance from the center of mass or center of rotation. This is R1. Similarly, M2 is at a distance of R2 from the center of rotation. M3 is at a distance of R3. M4 has R4 position vector. And M5 is at a distance of R5. This nth mass is the distance of Rn from center of rotation. Now, if this is a fixed point, if we apply some force, this object will rotate. Say suppose it rotates in this direction. So each and every point in this object rotate. And each and every point in this object have rotational kinetic energy. So we can calculate its rotational kinetic energy as the total kinetic energy of the object is given by Ke total. Total kinetic energy is equal to half m1 v1 square plus half m2 v2 square into so on plus half mn vn square. Half m1 v1 square will be the kinetic energy of mass m1. Half m2 v2 square will be the kinetic energy of mass m2, and similarly half or 1 divided by 2 mn vn square will be the kinetic energy of this object m, this point m. So furthermore we can write instead of v as v equal to r omega. So we get total kinetic energy 1 divided by 2 m1 r omega, r1 omega, this is square, so it will be r1 square omega square plus 1 divided by 2 m2 r2 square omega square, and similarly for nth point 1 divided by n, 1 divided by 2 mn rn square omega square. Now 1 divided by 2 omega square is common in this expression, so take this common. Kinetic energy, total kinetic energy equal to 1 divided by 2 omega square. Here we will get r1 square m1 or m1 r1 square, m2 r2 square, and so on. So this is m1 r1 square, m2 r2 square, and mn rn square. Furthermore, let me write this equation here. Total kinetic energy is equal to 1 divided by 2 omega square. Instead of m1 r1 square plus m2 r2 square plus mn rn square, remember this is a series, and we can write this series in summation form as total kinetic energy equal to 1 divided by 2 omega square summation I start from 1 up to n mi ri square. We can write this series in summation form as I start from 1 up to n mi ri square. Also we know that mi ri square is equal to moment of inertia I. So instead of this whole we can write I as, so kinetic energy total 1 divided by 2 omega square I square. So omega square I. So this will be the equation for total kinetic energy of a rigid body when it starts rotation. This I is moment of inertia here. You can write this summation I start from 1 up to n mi ri square is equal to I, moment of inertia. How that it might be clear. We can apply this rotational kinetic energy to a disk and half system. here is, say suppose a half and a disc roll down in inclined plane, then which one will reach the ground first? Here you can set it rolling of disc in half down in inclined plane. Rolling of a disc in a half down in inclined plane. Say suppose we have a half, which is a piece of cylindrical hollow cylinder. What is half? A piece of thin one cylinder or hollow sphere is called a half. Let me define these two. Half is a piece of thin one cylinder or hollow sphere is called a half, like this. Say suppose this is a thin one cylinder. This will be hollow. Now what about this? Disc is a piece of solid cylinder. Piece of solid cylinder. Is called disc, like CD disc, etc. This is half, and this one is, which is solid, filled at the center and interior side. This is a disc. Now, say suppose these two half and disc roll down in inclined plane. So which one of these two will reach the bottom first? Here in this diagram, we have an inclined plane like this. Say suppose this is an inclined plane. Here it makes angle theta. This is a disc, solid disc, and say suppose this is a home. When these two roll down, which one will reach the ground first? Which one will reach the bottom first? So for this we have to calculate the rotational kinetic energy and then the total kinetic energy of disc and half. From that we can calculate the velocity of this half and disc. So first of all, let me perform calculation for disc. When it rolls down, when this disc starts rolling down, it has two types of kinetic energy. Rotational kinetic energy. As it rolls down, it will have rotational kinetic energy as well as it will move from here to here. Translational kinetic energy. Similarly, when this half rolls down, it will have rotational kinetic energy as well as translational kinetic energy. So we can perform calculation for this. So loss in potential energy for this Loss in potential energy is equal to gain in kinetic energy. Kinetic energy, which one? Translational or linear, plus gain in kinetic energy, rotational. So we have to write this equation for all of these. So we get mgh, which is the expression for potential energy, is equal to gain in kinetic energy linear. So linear kinetic energy is given by 1 divided by 2 mv square. Remember, this is also called translational kinetic energy. Similarly, plus gain in rotational kinetic energy. So 1 divided by 2 I omega square. Now remember, what is I? Moment of inertia. What is the value of moment of inertia for a solid disk? So remember, the moment of inertia for a solid disk is given by, for disk, moment of inertia is equal to 1 divided by 2 mv, 1 divided by 2 mr square. So instead of I in this equation, you can put the value of I, which is 1 divided by 2 mr square. So we get mgh, one divided by 2 mv square plus, okay, so instead of I we put 1 divided by 2 or half mr square in this equation. We get mgh equal to 1 divided by 2 mv square plus 1 divided by 2 into 1 divided by 2. This is the value of I. mr square omega square. So we get mgh is equal to 1 divided by 2 mv square plus 1 divided by 4 m r square omega square. This r square omega square is equal to b square, because b equal to r omega, so r square omega square equal to b square. So we get mgh is equal to 1 divided by 2 mv square plus 1 divided by 4 mv square. Adding these two, 1 divided by 2 plus 1 divided by 4 equal to 3 divided by 4. So adding these two, we get mgh equal to 3 divided by 4 mv square. We will cancel this m from both sides and cross multiply this 3 divided by 4. We get v square equal to 4 divided by 3 gh. Now taking root both sides, we will get like this. We will get v equal to 4 divided by 3 gh. Now from this equation you can see that velocity, this is under the root, velocity of the disk do not depend on the mass, because there is no m in this expression. So velocity of this disk does not depend on the mass. It depends on acceleration due to gravity and h. Similarly, we can perform the calculation. Remember this disk and how both have the same masses, and they roll down to this inclined plane, and which one will reach the bottom first. We have to calculate the velocity. The velocity for disk is v equal to 4 divided by 3 gh. Say suppose this is equation number 1. Similarly, we can calculate the velocity for hump s. here. For home, loss in PE equal to loss in potential energy, or directly you can write potential energy will be converted into kinetic energy linear plus kinetic energy rotational. Here you can see when this half ruled down, there are two types of energy. One is its rotational energy and the other one is translational or linear kinetic energy. So PE is equal to mgh, which is equal to half mv square plus half I 1 upon 2I omega square. Now remember, moment of inertia for half is I, or moment of inertia for half is mr square. So putting the value of I in this equation, we get mgh is equal to 1 upon 2 mv square plus here plus 1 upon 2 m r square omega square. This r square omega square is equal to v square, linear velocity. So mgh is equal to 1 upon 2 mv square plus 1 upon 2 mv square. Half mv square plus half mv square is equal to mv square. So mgh is equal to mv square. Cancel this m from both sides and taking root, you will get v equal to gh under the root. And in cancel from both sides, we get v square equal to gh. So taking square root, v equal to under the root gh. Say suppose this is equation number 2. Now from equation 1 and equation 2. In equation 1, this is the velocity. This is the expression for velocity of solid disk when it rolled down an inclined plane, and this equation 2 represents the velocity of a hoop, which is a hollow cylinder, when it rolled down an inclined plane. In both the equation there is no mass, so velocity of this disk and mass is this disk and half is independent of their masses. Now from these two equations we conclude that the velocity for disk is greater than that of velocity for half. So the disk will reach the bottom first. Reach first to bottom. You can see from these two equations that the disk will reach to the bottom of the inclined plane first. Because of its what? Because of its moment of inertia. You can see. So I think that it is enough for today. Thank you dear student for listening me. Inshallah, see you in next lecture.